Hey pen pals, welcome to the Dormouse's desk. So this past weekend I went to the 2021 Triangle Pen Show. It was June 10th through the 13th right here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And so today I want to share with you some of the things that I picked up. We'll do some swatches, and I wanted to give you my overall impressions of the show. So let's get started. First up, we've got the show ink. So this is Papier Plume's Carolina in My Mind. It's a really beautiful teal. It has fantastic chromatography, and if you want to learn more about this ink, I have another video. I'll link it up here in the cards for you. I recommend that you check it out. It's a really, really beautiful ink. If you can get your hands on some, I definitely would encourage you to do so, because it's lovely. So I also purchased from Papier Plume Ivy Green. It's a nice emerald. I look forward to testing that and using that. So in addition to ink from Papier Plume, I also picked up sealing wax paraphernalia. So here I've got this really nice green and bronze color sealing wax, and I also picked up 2 wax seals. This one has a dinosaur on it, which is so cool. And this one is a turtle, but he's got a lot of 3D recesses to him. So I look forward to using those. And then I also picked up a melting spoon. So Federalist Pens was there, and from them I picked up some ink. They have a Robert Oster Franklin Fifth and Robert Oster Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm is a favorite. I've had a sample for a while, and so I knew I needed a bottle. And then Franklin Fifth is very interesting because it's Federalist Pens' 5th anniversary, which is also Robert Oster's 5th anniversary. If you're an ink artist, check out the link in the description below. Robert Oster is currently running a contest up until June 30th, and I would encourage anybody to enter. So I also picked up this Colorverse ink set. Morning Star Antimatter and Spirit are included in that. We look forward to testing those. Probably my most exciting purchase was this franklin-christoph Model 46 in antique glass. I got it with a music nib, and it puts down quite the line. In addition from franklin-christoph, I also purchased an extra fine nib, and this was intended for my Moonman C1. The pen now is a much nicer writer than it was with the Moonman nib. It's an okay nib. The Moonman nibs they're okay, but I wanted something a little bit more precise, and it works great now. From thepenshow.com, I purchased my very first Mont Blanc ink. This is Le Petit Prince Rose Burgundy, and Le Petit Prince is probably one of my favorite childhood books, so I'm very excited to try this and see how it feels. I hear good things about Mont Blanc. From Bertrams, I picked up Organic Studios Unicorn Blood. I've also had this in a sample, and I loved it, and so I knew I had to have a bottle. I did not know that this was also a pen show ink, so that's very exciting to get 2 pen show inks in one show. Now this pen I had walked past I don't know how many times, and I'm just like, I gotta get it because it matches everything I own. And so finally on the last day I decided I would pick up this Kaweco in Vibrant Violet. And it has a beautiful gold end cap and nib. I'm thrilled to have added this to the collection. Now let's get swatching. So we'll start with the Colorverse inks, and while we do some swatching, I'll give you my impressions of the show. So this was my very first pen show. I have nothing to compare it to. But I'm also not a stranger to conventions and shows like this either. I think because this pen show was sort of more sales focused, that it was a little bit different from what I had expected. I was really expecting more talks, and there were some, but I was for some reason expecting more, and that's fine. And I'm not sure if that's normal or not, because this is a pandemic year, and two, I've never been to a pen show, so I have nothing to compare it to. Now, I've heard this show billed as a small show. I think for my first show, it felt like it was the perfect size. It's nice to get your feet wet and not feel completely overwhelmed, so I appreciated it being a quote-unquote small show. Now, just because people say it's a small show, I don't think that necessarily means that there wasn't a lot to it, because there was. And I think you could find something for anybody there. Certainly a lot of fountain pen stuff, but there are also ballpoints and pencils. At the show, you could also find a really good mix of both vintage and modern pens. There were a number of independent makers there, and so that was really fascinating to actually be able to speak with the makers and ask them questions. There were vendors there who had pen blanks that you could just purchase directly from them if you were into turning pens rather yourself. So we opted for the couple's weekend/early admittance ticket, which was $35 for the two of us for all 3 days, and early admittance on Friday. I did show up early on Friday because I didn't want to miss anything and I didn't know what to expect. But vendors were still setting up, and some weren't even there. So the price of early weekend is worth it, but really only if you go all 3 days. Whoa, this ink is kind of green, and I thought it would have been gray, so that's kind of interesting. This is why we swatch things, folks. You can't believe the boxes. So when we went back on Saturday, there were far more vendors, and the vendors that were there Friday morning had time to unpack their stuff and set up their tables properly before being bombarded. And so there were things there from vendors that I didn't even see the morning before. So you have to make that decision for yourself whether or not that's right for you to go early. Maybe you know the vendors, or there are friends from out of town that you want to see, or something that would make you want to, that would allow you to find value in going early. I probably wouldn't again, but certainly as soon as the show officially opens, I'm there. So I'm not really sure what's normal for a pen show. I was hoping to see more discussions on stationery-related items. I believe there were only 2. I wasn't really sure exactly when those were, and I think there were a lot of things behind the scenes going on that made the schedule kind of a bit wonky this year, and it could have been pandemic stuff, but it could have been organizational stuff. I don't know. But I think there were just 2, and then there was maybe a calligraphy class and maybe a copperplate class. So there was Joe's vintage pencil discussion, and then there was also a snorkel discussion, and I'll link my video up above, which sort of showcases all of Joe's mechanical pencils that he brought to the show, and they're really, really amazing and quite fascinating objects. So I recommend that you check out that video. But like I said, this is my first pen show, so I don't know what's normal, but I would have loved to have learned more about the hobby. So if you've never been to a pen show, and again, I'm not a pen show veteran or anything, but I found these couple of things to be helpful, and maybe these things would help you as well. So number 1, it's really important to know your limit before you go, because you can really damage your wallet at one of these places. You can really hurt yourself. There's really no amount of money you could bring to a pen show that would be enough. And that hit me real hard after this show. There were so many things I could have bought that I wanted, but you just can't. You have to set yourself a limit. Set a budget before you go to a pen show. And plan that in advance. You may want to save up some money and say, this is what I'm allowed to spend at the pen show, and that would work just fine. But definitely plan it ahead, because you never know what's going to be there and what you're going to need to take home with you. So along with that first point, planning ahead and having a limit on your spending, is to stick with your limit when you get there, which can be so incredibly hard to do. It might be good just to have your budget in cash. Just bring cash. And once you run out of cash, that's it. You can't spend any more money, because your rule will be cash only. And bringing cash is not a bad idea anyway, because sometimes vendors maybe won't charge you tax, or won't charge you that extra because they have to pay a credit card processing fee. So you might get a break if you pay in cash. So my third recommendation would be to bring along pens with you that maybe need some nib love, because you're bound to find at least one nib grinder at a pen show, if not more, I would think. If you know you have a pen that needs some help, check out the website first and venture to those nib grinders websites, because they might have appointments that you need to set up ahead of time, but maybe not. I was able to just sit down with the nib grinder and have her take a look at what I had going on, and she was able to fix it for me right then and there. Similarly to nib grinders, I would say if you have pens that you're unsure of the value of, and maybe you want to have them appraised, bring those along as well, because there's sure to be somebody that can appraise a pen for you there. And number 5, I would say, make conversation with as many people as possible. Everyone that I ran into at the pen show was incredibly kind So talk to everyone. I know I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of people and I learned a lot of things at the pen show. Now, which one of these swatches is your favorite? Because, oh, look at this Papier Plume Ivy Green. It's fantastic. The Caroline in my mind is also quite nice. And again, I have another video for that. And then the Organic Studio Unicorn Blood has long been a favorite. And it's got this beautiful, like, gold shimmer in it. So it's not for every pen. But look at that. Take a look at antimatter. It's still not gray. Anyway, which one's your favorite? Let me know. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And get yourself to a pen show. Have a good one. See you next time.